So I'm gonna take this masterpiece of a drawing I did and turn it into a cool little Pikachu diorama. But here's the thing. I've never done any of this before. So wish me luck. I'm gonna start off with this here foam board that for some reason they decided to put an indestructible sticker on. Then I figured I'd measure some stuff just to make it look a little more professional. So now it's time to test out some blades. As you can see, this one doesn't work very well, but we gotta commit anyway. So now I'm gonna give this more traditional utility knife a try. That's a little better, but still not perfect. Now, I guess I should probably give an X-Acto knife a try, because that was probably the most logical choice in the first place, honestly. And as the name would suggest, it's much more precise. We did it! I found this neat little corkboard thing at IKEA that I'm going to use as a base for everything. And now it's time to cut some corners. Like, actually cutting the corners, not... You get it. And this goes surprisingly well until, you know, the blade pops out. But I'll just remove Excalibur here and fiddle around with it for way too long until I finally give up and get my significantly more talented girlfriend to fix it. And we're back in business. For a couple more seconds until I, you know, fully break it this time. But it's fine, because I can just run over to the local hardware store and find one that's a little more suited for my big old brute hands. And then I'm going to finish cutting the corners off camera to save us all any further embarrassment. To make everything look a little more natural, I'm just going to cut away some of these pieces of foam. And while that's happening, here's my third favorite Pika Fact ever. This one comes from Pokemon Gold, where the Pokedex entry reads, "This intelligent Pokemon roasts hard berries with electricity to make them tender enough to eat." Now, I chose this one because if I was a Pikachu, this would 100% be me. Screw fighting for some incompetent 10-year-old boy with a hero complex and getting myself put in harm's way just because he's an idiot. I'd rather chill in the forest with my Pika friends and eat some freaking berries. Now that that's all done, I'm gonna make like an onion and spread out my layers or whatever. And then once we've got them laid out roughly where we're gonna want them, we're gonna grab our hot glue gun and stick them right in place. I decided I wanted to make that center section look even more like a little staircase, so I took some of our scrap foam board and cut it into the shape of railings. And that should just make it pop out a little more from the other layers on the outside. Then we can get everything glued down to that cork board. And after looking at it a little longer, I decided the staircase looked a little weird, so I added a little baby step to the bottom. Then we're gonna get some of that satisfying peeling action, but I messed that up too. Sorry. Now I'm gonna cover the whole thing in modeling paste. I'm gonna use this fancy little foam brush thing I found. I probably could have used a normal paintbrush, but that'd be boring. So now I'm going to give you my second favorite Pika Fact ever. When they race their tails, they can sometimes just randomly be struck by lightning. So when groups of them gather, they can accidentally cause these crazy lightning storms. I just imagine a group of these goofy little mice running around having a good time when all of a sudden the sky just starts blasting out thunder and ruining all the other forest Pokemon's peaceful evenings. Next, I'm going to take these plastic things and some copper wire, and I'm going to use them to make a cool little light fixture. Now, these plastic things are called preforms, and I found them in the garbage at work, so you're probably not going to be able to find them on your own unless you also work at a factory like me. But I'm sure you can find something similar if you just pay attention while you're at the craft store next time. Now we just got to wrap up another one of these plastic things real quick. And there we have it. Two new little light fixture things. Now I'm going to use those to mark some holes for drilling. I have to make some tunnels to put the lights through. Now, I could have avoided this altogether if I just cut some pathways in the foam a couple steps ago and made some holes for the lights that way, but I didn't. So here we are. And then once we're done with the top ones, we'll get the back side the same way and we'll make sure everything fits properly. Now I'm applying a layer of Mod Podge and gray paint to seal everything in. I'm not sure if this is necessary, but it looks good and I've seen all the cool kids doing it on the internet. Sometimes you just have to admit you have zero idea what you're doing and have your girlfriend show you how to not paint like an idiot. Now I'll take those lessons she taught me and probably still do really, really bad. But it's okay, because we're learning. Speaking of which, if you have any tips to help me improve on anything, I'd love to hear them down in the comments. And now that that's all done, we're going to take our newfound painting skills and apply a coat of light gray paint to make everything more uniform. And now it looks like a crappy pile of clay. But that's why we got to dry brush it. Using an even lighter gray paint to dry brush will make some of these textures stand out a little more and make it look even more natural, kind of like real rocks almost. Yeah, that's looking much better already. So now I'm going to use some spray adhesive to add some actual stones to the bottom of this to make it kind of look like a cliffside collapsed. And then keeping with our rocky theme, I'm going to glue together some Seiryu stones to make a nice little cave entrance looking thing. And then I'll cut out a little piece of black cloth to glue to the back of the stones to make it look a little more dark and mysterious. Now we're going to string some lights through the holes that we drilled earlier. I'm just using fairy lights here. You could probably get away with using any LED lights though, honestly. Just one of these lights on its own isn't going to be bright enough, so I ended up folding them together to get a bunch of them. And that just ends up being way brighter. But I messed up when I forgot that one of the tunnels is a little bigger than the other, so I had to start over to make sure that the next step isn't impossible. So while I'm doing that, let me tell you my favorite Pika Fact. So sometimes these little guys will eat and destroy telephone poles, and I like to think they're making a statement here like, heck your system, we don't need you, we're living off grid, baby. For the second light fixture, I just folded the same string of lights in half and pulled it through the other tunnel. So now you can probably see why that would have been an issue with the smaller hole. And then we just got to fold this side up the same way and fit those into place. Now we pop the rock fixture right up on top of there, and we start gluing that bad boy right to the rest of the project. And then we're going to slide our light fixtures right on top of those strings of fairy lights and get those suckers glued in too. And then it's finally time to get our Pikachu in place and get him all nice and situated. And now it's time for the beauty shots. I had a lot of fun doing this project, so like and subscribe if you want to see more like it. And maybe consider making something for yourself, because honestly, if I can do it, anyone can do it. And thanks for being part of my journey. I really appreciate it. See ya.